Good morning. Thank you for joining with us in our devotional series, Be Thou an Example of Believers. Please turn with me to Titus chapter 2, verses 6 through 8. In Titus 2, 6 through 8, we're looking at Paul's writings as he's writing to Titus, and we're trying to see different reasons why we are to set the proper example for others about us. Let's begin in verse number 6 of Titus 2. Likewise, exhort the young men to be sober-minded, in all things showing yourself to be a pattern of good works, in doctrine showing integrity, reverence, and incorruptibility. Sound speech that cannot be condemned. Remember, the first reason why we're to set the proper example for others around us is because it takes condemnation off of our heads. By us living consistent lives where our words match our actions, there is less opportunity for those around us to find fault with us. Okay, it goes on. Another reason why is that one who is an opponent may be ashamed. By living a godly life in front of those around us, that aids in showing others the sin that's in their life. There have been times lost people have become ashamed simply by looking at the godly lives of those who are saved. Many times a lost person has the sin in his life revealed to him when he sees a Christian living a godly life. Christ many times uses the godly life of a Christian to open up the eyes of a lost person to show them their need of the existence of sin in their life and their need of salvation. So that's another reason why we are to set the proper example for others. Finally, the last reason why is having nothing evil to say of you. Having nothing evil to say of you. Folks, when we live a life that is consistent, when we live a life that is godly in the eyes of others, people can never look back and accuse us of not telling them about Christ. Now think about it. One of the saddest things to think of is you have the Lord take, I'll just use the workplace, but this could be a school you're in or the neighborhood you live in, any of that, this would all be the same. I believe the Lord places Christians exactly where they're at for a reason. For example, the job you have, the Lord puts you in that job for a reason. The neighborhood you live in, the Lord has you living in that neighborhood for a reason. Now stop and think about it. The Lord put Christians in different places, exactly where He wanted them, because there are lost people there to be witnessed to. There are lost people in your neighborhood. There's lost people in your workplace. There's lost people in the school you go to. There's even lost people in your family that you're a member of. One of the great reasons why the Lord puts you in that family or in that home or in that workplace is because He wants you to be a witness to those lost people around you. One of the greatest shames would be in eternity for a lost person to turn and look at us as Christians and say, you failed me. You lived right next door to me and you never told me about the Lord. And you lived such an ungodly life. I felt comfortable living around you and I never saw the sin in my life because you were joining right in with the sin in my life, making it appear to me as if there was nothing wrong in what I was doing. Folks, let me say something. By living a godly life, we are being a testimony and a ministry to those around us. Nobody can ever say, you didn't show me Christ. By us setting the proper example for others around us, no one can ever come up and say, I did not see Christ in you. And from a human standpoint, that's why I never trusted in Him. Wouldn't it be a horrible thing to, in that sense, have the blood of a lost person upon us throughout eternity? To know that if we had only done what the Lord wanted us to do from a human standpoint, a lost person then would have been saved. Look, we know the Lord's sovereign. We know He's in control. We know that He never loses any of His sheep. But certainly there's an amount of responsibility placed on each Christian to minister to the lost around him. And that's what I'm talking about. From a human standpoint. From a human standpoint. Will lost people in eternity be able to speak evil of us and say, you were not a testimony of Christ to me, and that's why I never trusted in Him. May we all go about our part today, living our lives for the Lord, and in doing so being a living testimony, so no one can ever say anything evil about us in the latter day and say, you didn't show me Christ. Lord bless you as you study His Word.